I'm Dominic Murray. This is my risk assessment for an indoor facility. I'm going to be focusing on basketball. Now, I've made 3 risks that I've identified on this court and what could be an issue for players. It could be a risk for players if they were playing on this court. The first one would be the surface if the floor was slippery or wet. If a player, spectator, coach, whatever, came in with a drink, spilt it, it would cause slippery surface, which is obviously a hazard. This gives us a severity level of 2 and a probability of 4, which gives me an overall risk score of 8. I've got controls for this would be that there's a sign, if you just look here, on the outside of the door to the gym. This sign here just explains how you're not allowed any form of drinks, liquids, foods, whatever in here, because it can be a hazard to have it inside here. Also, if there was someone to bring a drink in here, because it is expected, we're not going to fine players not having drinks. It is said that they have it in good water bottles like this with a sealable cap, isn't going to spill unless, of course, you pop the top open and you're drinking some, so it's a lot more safer, stops there being any form of slipping hazards. This then gives me a new risk score of 2. Then my next risk was the backboard. If you look on the backboard for this one in particular, you can see this rubber red lining just around the bottom here. That is for when you've got the taller or the players who can jump higher. They want to jump for a layup or maybe even a dunk in some cases, and as they're jumping, it can be possible that if they have overjumped, they could hit their head or part of their body could hit off the board. By having this rubber laying here, it makes it a lot safer. If they were going to collide with it, it would be a lot safer anyway. If it was to be without it, so if you see these ones here, it's just one small layer of foam just on the top. It doesn't have any protection if a player was to run in from the side, or even if they ran in head on, it still isn't very good protection. This will give a severity level of 4 and a probability of 3, giving us a risk of 12, which is very high. Obviously, as I said before, the best way to control this risk was to keep on correct rubber protection, such as the one over there. After doing that, it gives a new risk of 3. The next risk would be jewellery. Now you see certain athletes, they may come on wearing earrings, bracelets, necklaces. All of these can be hazards when playing basketball. Maybe scratch hazards. If you're wearing a necklace, it's a choking hazard. If you've got a large earring, you could get caught on it and it could rip and it could cause quite a serious injury. So we gave a severity level of 3, probability of 3, giving it a risk score of 9 overall. We said this best way to control this is no jewellery is allowed whilst playing, whether that's playing a game, training. No jewellery should be allowed when participating in basketball. If a player is wearing jewellery or they refuse to take off the jewellery, they should not be allowed to play at all. This gives us a new risk score of 1. Now the next one would be kit. Now, having kit near a pitch, now you can see in this court, it's a relatively small court. Like, you don't have a lot of space around, like where you could store bags. So if you stored bags here, obviously the red line being the court line. If you were to store a bag here, it's still close. It could be knocked or it could be a tripping hazard. And you see, just over here, we have a large space here. Now, in this space where people should be storing their bags and keeping it safe away from the court, therefore stopping all tripping hazards being able to be done. This was a severity level of 3, probability of 2, giving it an overall risk of 6. After making sure players have players, spectators, whatever, make sure they have put it in this gap here where kit is supposed to go off the court, defeats any tripping hazard it could be, gives me a new risk score of 1. The next risk would be nails, more specifically fingernails. Now you see in basketball there's a lot of hands flying around. If you do have a player who does have rather long fingernails, they could go for like a block or charge down. They could miss, they could end up scratching opposition player's face, or maybe one of their own players' face by accident. So it said that the risk score for having a player doing that would be severity level 3. A player could catch the eye, could quite a serious injury, and probability of 2, giving a risk score of 6. So this, we should say players are not allowed to have long fingernails. There's some sort of limit, like they shouldn't have it past any form of where the finger ends. Once that's done, it gives me a new. If they do have long fingernails, they shouldn't be allowed to play, or they should have them cut off immediately. Not the fingers, just the nails. New score being 1. Finally, we have the wall surrounding the pitch. Now, if you see here, the court even. Now, if you see here, the red line being where the court ends, the wall is probably just over a metre rough estimate from the wall. If a player was to overrun, or maybe if the ball was to go astray, they was trying to get the ball, then maybe at full sprint and may not have enough time to stop, and then end up running into a solid brick wall, which is a very high hazard. This gives me a severity level of 3 and a probability of 3, giving an overall risk score of 9. The controls for this would be warn players, inform them, tell them that look, it isn't very far, just be careful when you're running up the line. If you're running in the direction of the wall, just be careful, you're going to be able to stop. And also they should be wearing, they should also be wearing correct footwear for it. So if they were to, it's much down to footwear on this. If they were to lose control due to ill footwear, something like that, this would be the consequence. They would end up running into this solid surface like the wall. Once these controls have been made, it gives us an overall risk score of 4 for that. That's it. Thank you.